Adventure, variety, drama. ITV and the look of Christmas Day.
What is the true golden rule?
Do unto others before they do it unto you.
We've got a lot of Christmas crackers on our special blind date on Christmas Day.
At 5 to 4, The Empire Strikes Back, the television premiere. And spectacular West End action, Save the Children with Michael Crawford at 6:05. Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without Coronation Street. And we mark a decade of putting your foot in it.
There's no difference between me and you except I'm rich and talented. And you are almost.
This contains 65 weapons.
This has 82 different functions. 83 if you wish to light a cigar.
It'll light up your life. ITV and the look of Christmas Day.
Krypton Factor Grand Final, Boxing Day at 7 on ITV.
You'll never guess who I've just seen.
Yeah, I'll never guess.
Leslie. You know, Leslie. I've just seen him from the bus.
Leslie who?
Leslie who? Leslie who you used to go around with, Leslie.
Leslie?
I did like Leslie. So charming. Always took his hat off. You never took your hat off.
Never heard a hat.
And he had wonderful hands.
Yeah.
Leslie Green, that was it.
What are you doing?
I was going to see if he was in the book.
It's easy to lose touch with old friends. Pick up the phone, and maybe you can pick up the threads.
Yeah, hurry! Yeah? Yeah? Yeah. She's just the same.
British Telecom. It's you we answer to.
No, it's not Beryl. I never married Beryl.
Villages, fields, a junction at Crewe. Main lines and sidings, a shunter or two. Freight trains and tankers, a great water tower. The Mallard, the Star, they've got some power. Hornby. Radiant's viaducts, a diesel, a crane. Lifting a coach, not showing the strain. People on platforms, cattle and skies. Houses and crossings, a big pair of eyes. A big pair of eyes. I'm a Hornby HS2, and nothing can catch me.
Flexes and young children spell danger. Think safety first.
Don't forget, YTV's Christmas line is now open if you've any problems or need any advice.
Christmas week at 8 means the very best of American comedy.
Hello, Miss Huxtable.
Why are you being so nice to her? She's late too, Chester.
But she's late, but look good. You just late.
Next week is New Year's Eve, and we were kind of wondering if we...
Forget it.
I thought you had a 4 o'clock beauty parlor appointment.
I did. They finished with me early.
On Christy Brinkley, they can finish early. You need every minute they can spare.
Go, Merry Christmas!
I hope you're not hanging that there for my benefit.
Are you kidding me? Who'd want to kiss somebody and make someone else work on Christmas Eve? All right.
Nothing but the best comedy for Christmas week, Monday to Friday at 8 on Channel 4.
Once upon a time, there were 4 pedigree chums and 1 ugly dachshund.
You still going to tell me that's a dachshund?
I didn't say that, Fran. Not once did I say that was a dachshund. Take away, Ryan.
That's not a lion, that's a dog.
You call that a dog? Ryan! Ryan!
An outsized Great Dane crashing his way through canine capers and dog-on disasters, and all the time believing he's just an ugly dachshund. Disney for Christmas Eve at 2:20 on ITV.
Beginning over on Channel 4 in a minute, an animated version of the Christmas story in Christmas Star. On Yorkshire Television in 5 minutes, a look ahead to the coming week's football action with Saint and Greavsie. And that's after the news, first from ITN in London at the time of 1 o'clock.
The news from ITN.
Hundreds join the Christmas Eve search for the Lockerbie victims. About 600 police, troops and rescue workers are looking for more than 100 bodies which still hadn't been recovered 4 days after the tragedy. For the first time, some of the relatives of the American victims have been to the site of the crash in Lockerbie. The search has now been extended to the Kielder Forest in Northumberland, 30 miles away. Debris has been found on the Northumberland coast. The Prince and Princess of Wales have sent their message of condolence to the people of Lockerbie.
Early this morning, police, troops, firemen and crash investigators resumed the search of the Jumbo's shattered cockpit in the hills above Lockerbie. After a briefing in the local church just a few yards away, hundreds of police and troops began a systematic search of the area, while forensic experts and American specialist investigators from Pan Am delicately sifted through the wreckage of the flight deck. There are still some bodies here. They'll be removed later. In Sherwood Crescent, now a vast crater, similar scenes as the experts search through these devastated homes and begin to clear some of the debris of this catastrophe. Incredibly, some of the rubble is still smouldering 3 days after the disaster. The clearing up operation goes on. These aircraft seats and thousands of pieces of twisted metal which were strewn across the Sherwood Park estate are now ready to be taken away, but they keep finding more. Coffins have begun arriving at Lockerbie Town Hall, now a temporary mortuary. Around 150 bodies have been found so far. More than 100 remain undiscovered. Some will have to be identified from dental records. At a press conference a short time ago, a representative of the bereaved American relatives expressed his feelings.
Everybody is very supportive. The social services here are outstanding, and everybody's, the whole town, everybody's been very helpful. The town itself has gone through a major trauma, and, everyone's just been fantastic. Everybody's helping everybody else.
Late this morning, a letter arrived here from the Prince and Princess of Wales, expressing heartfelt sympathy for those townspeople who've lost their lives. It says they will be much in our thoughts and prayers during this particularly poignant Christmas time. Glenn O'Glaser, ITN, Lockerbie.
An oil storage tanker drifting out of control in the North Sea has been made safe. At one point it was heading for the Clyde oil field. The Fulmar FSU, with 34 men on board, broke loose from its moorings in the Fulmar oil field and drifted 14 miles before a tug got a line to it. Mrs. Thatcher has restated her determination never to negotiate the sovereignty of the Falkland Islands. In her annual broadcast to the islanders, she told them they could look forward to a prosperous and settled future.
We shall never accept the arguments of those who refuse to recognize your right to decide your own future, a right which Britain is determined to uphold. And of course, sovereignty is not for negotiation. So as 1988 draws to a close, the future is bright for the Falklands, just as it is for the United Kingdom.
8 people were killed in the United States when a tanker carrying highly inflammable propane gas burst into a fireball on a motorway in Memphis, Tennessee. Witnesses said the tank blasted off like a missile before it fell on a nearby house. 2 people inside, including a child, were killed instantly. Burning fragments from the exploded truck crashed into other vehicles. 6 cars were totally destroyed. 10 people were taken to hospital. 4 of them are believed to be suffering critical burns. Fire chiefs today praised the courage of a man who rescued 7 young children, including baby triplets, from their smoke-filled home. The fire broke out in the kitchen of a maisonette in Leeds last night. The children, aged from 7 months to 11 years, were shouting for help from a bedroom window. Passerby Cedric Winrow forced open a door and carried them to safety.
It really wasn't that bad. It got worse later on when the fire brigade came, but by that time it was all over.
Because the fire brigade said you did a very good job?
Yeah.
You feel as though you have this morning?
Well, not really, no. I mean, I just happened to be there, just happened to be in the right place at the right time, if you like.
That's it so far. The next news from ITN is at 5:05. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and as you may have seen on ITN, a passerby is being hailed as a hero after rescuing 6 children from a blazing house in Leeds. The children had been left on their own. Chris Kiddie reports.
The fire broke out in the kitchen of a maisonette in Greenside Walk in Lower Wortley. The children, girl triplets aged 18 months, 2 boys aged 6 and 2, and an 11-year-old girl, were trapped in an upstairs bedroom. A passer-by went into the smoke-filled flat to rescue them.
Apparently the oldest child had asthma and would come downstairs into the smoke, so we had to break the door down to get them out. It just happened to be there, just happened to be in the right place at the right time, if you like.
I would say that he had acted with some disregard for his own safety, yes, he was quite courageous.
And had he not gone in there, would those children have come out of that fire, do you think?
Had he not gone in there, it's difficult to say, but the situation would definitely have been worse, yes.
Fireman put out the blaze. None of the children needed hospital treatment.
Lincolnshire County Council is calling for a campaign to keep the Grantham to Skegness rail line open. Councillors claim the line is one of a series being considered for closure by British Rail. Thousands of pounds are being spent on modernising level crossings along the route. The council say that unless the public fight for the right to keep the line open, it could be lost. Rugby League and Bradford Northern's test swinger Phil Ford could be moving across the Pennines to St Helens. Ford has been on the transfer list since summer, following a row with Bradford over his contract. The club value him at £140,000. St Helens are reported to be interested in a cash and player exchange. All 18 members of the royal family are expected at Sandringham in West Norfolk for Christmas. It'll be the first time in 25 years that the whole family has spent Christmas together. The Queen has had 5 Christmas trees put up. That's one for each of her children. Well, that's it from us for now. More news later, but now for the weather details from Paul Lally.
This afternoon will be cloudy with some rain at times and patchy fog on the hills. Temperatures will stay around 8 degrees centigrade, 46 degrees Fahrenheit, and winds will be moderate westerly. The evening and night will remain mild and cloudy. Although there'll be a little light rain and patchy fog on the Pennines, most of the region will stay dry. No frost tonight, temperatures no lower than 8 centigrade, 46 Fahrenheit, and winds will be light to moderate from the southwest. And the outlook for Christmas Day remaining very mild with variable cloud and a little sunshine.
On with the quick-fire section, fingers on the buzzers. Who was Britain's last coalition Prime Minister? Contestant number 2.
Winston Churchill.
Correct. Gozzers, pinkies, and contestant number 2?
Types of fishing bait.
Correct. Who discovered number 2 again?
Louis Pasteur.
Correct. Where might...
In your ear.
Correct. What?
7.
Huh?
Runner beans.
What?
H2O.
Here, I bet he drinks
Carling Black Label.
Your best bet for a fuller flavour.
Carling Black Label.
Villages, fields, a junction at Crewe. Main lines and sidings, a shunter or 2. Freight trains and tankers, a great water tower. The Mallard, the Star, they've got some power. Hornby. Radium's viaducts, a diesel, a crane. Lifting a coach, not showing the strain. People on platforms, cattle and skies. Houses and crossings, a big pair of eyes. A big pair of eyes. I'm a Hornby HS2, and nothing can catch me.
And now, Saint and Greavsie look ahead to the football in store over the Christmas holidays.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Compliments of the seasoning to you, or something like that.
Welcome to a special Christmas edition of the programme, which today will be taking you back in time, reliving some of the great matches in our archives. And we plan to have a little bit of fun as well, but the bulk of the show will take you down memory lane and remind you of some famous names from the past. A special guest is Craig Johnson, who speaks for the first time about life away from Liverpool on the beaches of New South Wales, and a whimsical tale of perhaps the zaniest manager in the Football League, Colin Murphy of Lincoln City, and his antics will make you smile, I'm sure. Well, also today, another competition to set your minds to, and that comes up a little later in the show. But James, the only people working over Christmas are you and I.
It has to be us, doesn't it? I mean, in a weekend studio where everybody's supposed to work, only Saint and I are working. Thanks to Hamilton Academicals for lending us their lights.
Very nice.
Tree. Looks very smart, doesn't it?
Well, there's no football today, other than, James, up in Scotland where the Scottish First and Second Division boys are playing.
Arguably, there's no football today, but we won't go into that.
Right, well, first, the serious stuff. And as we predicted last Saturday, Northern Ireland found it going pretty uncomfortable in Seville last Wednesday in their World Cup match. Well, Scotland too were beaten in Italy in a friendly, but not quite so comprehensively. And I must say, Jim, I thought a very dodgy penalty here for the Italians.
It did look a bit dodgy. One's got to be fair. It was just a little trip by Goff. I don't really see anything in it. But when you are playing the old Italians in Italy,
but watch the penalty now. A week or two ago, Norwich and Arsenal, remember the game?
Yeah.
And the referee made them take it again simply because somebody was in the box. Well, look, everybody's in the box in this one.
Yeah.
So
I'm surprised.
I think they were entitled to make them retake it, weren't
Actually, I don't know, because there's a few jockos in the box as well, but they are arguably... It's unusual to have a penalty retaken in Italy.
Giannini with
Giannini, good take, well taken. And here, their second goal, and again, actually, one does have to have a closer look at Richard Goff here and question whether he shouldn't have got up in front of little Bertie there and knocked it out. But there you are. Not a bad effort, though, by Jockos, is it?
Well, you know...